Man, in this video, I'm going to give you the cheat code for a better life. Whether you want more material objects, whether you want more happiness, whether you want more connection, more discipline, this is the tool to continually help you spiral higher and higher. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ian Wood. I've been in men's personal development for the last 20 years, and in the last 10 years, I've led men all over the world to reclaim their power and create a life with higher quality of living. And in this video, I'm going to break down what has helped me personally more than anything else. This right here is what's known as the map of consciousness, and it was created by David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD, the author of Power versus Force, Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, and Let Go. This man is brilliant, and I want to break down this image here and help you understand how you can utilize it for the rest of your life, once again, to live a higher quality of life, whether that's the material things you want around you or the happiness that you feel inside. So let's look over here to the side real quick. Look at the name of level over here. Let's start there. And let's start down at the bottom. Now, here we see shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. So you can read all of those. You can pause that if you want to go through all of them. Once again, I encourage you to download this. This is literally the background on my phone. I look at it all the time to remind me that I can climb to higher and higher states of being. Now, there's an important piece here that's right where I am, which is feeling. Now we see pleasure, peaceful poise. We see painful and stressed. And it switches right here, right above pride and into courage. Now, everything under here is like a survival way of living. We're focused on what is going to get us. We're focused on stress. We're focused on danger. Now, I particularly teach men about sexuality, and I'm going to tell you why in comparison to this image. Now, once again, we see shame here at the bottom, and it's connected to I'm bad or I should. If you are someone that says should a lot, it's a good sign that this is an energy, this is a state of being that you are stuck in. Now, shame and guilt are important to talk about because we see shame and guilt at the bottom here. Shame is the belief that I'm bad, there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough. It's about self. It's about a feeling of wrongness in ourself. Now, guilt is connected to I did something wrong, an action I did was not okay, and it needs to be changed. Those are very big differences. Now, shame is incredibly important for us to find and why it's at the bottom at the weakest state. Now, David R. Hawkins' work in the Map of Consciousness was all about kinesiology, which is muscle testing. So, literally, muscle testing and strength testing. So, when you are in a state of shame, that is your weakest state. You do not, your body does not have the power that it needs to create. Now, that's really what this scale of consciousness is all about. Look at the different emotions, look at the different states of being. If you go down to the bottom, of course, I mean, you're going to have some energy at fear. You're going to have survival energy, which is fight or flight, go, take some things down when you're afraid, but you're going to have a lot of weakness with fear. Your body and mind are not going to communicate well together. There's going to be incoherence in the mind and body, and it's going to take time for you to revitalize. If we live in fear and stress all the time, that is not how we gain strength, that we start to deteriorate. Now you can climb higher into anger, pride, courage, and we start to get to neutrality, willingness, acceptance. Now we're getting into gratitude. Now we're getting into love. Now we're getting into joy. Now, once again, these can be states of being that we're living in and ultimately how we're perceiving reality. That I'm looking around and my mind is trained to be attuned to acceptance, to trust, to gratitude. And that's how I am looking at the world around me instead of fear, anger, guilt, grief, all of these lower states of being. Now, it's not about one being bad or one being good. In when I talk about this map of consciousness, it's about what has the most power to create my life, the life that I want for myself or the life that I want for my family. The most power is in these higher levels where we're in joy, love, gratitude, accepting, and willingness. We have more energy and power to create the life that we want to create and live in these higher states of being. Now, if we want to continually live in anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, shame, then okay, yeah, let's just keep living the way that we're living. But there's no end to a man's development. I want to repeat that. There is no end to a man's development because we can just keep spiraling higher and higher. Now, look at some of the saints and sages that are talked about still to this day. One of the most famous ones is Jesus or Yeshua. There's the Buddha, and there's a lot of other saints and sages that were living in these higher states of being, of enlightenment, of peace, of joy. And they had so much power that it rippled out into the collective of humanity. I mean, think of the movement that some of these people caused, especially if we talk about Yeshua, Jesus. People are still talking about him today. They have people that have committed, he has people that have committed their whole lives to him, that have him on shrines, that are praying to him every day, that think that he's God, have these, amazing beliefs that sometimes serve them, sometimes they don't. But that is the power of that being in the state of consciousness that he reached. Or once again, we can look at the Buddha. People have him on the altar, reading his books, reading his teachings. That is power. That is the power to create not only in your existence, but continuing on after you've even passed. So we as men have this opportunity to continually spiral up. Now, something that's very important is when you find shame or guilt or fear or anger, it's not something to push away or repress. It's actually something to invite in and have a relationship with it. You want to know more about it. You want to know what that part of you, how it's perceiving reality, and you want to invite it in. Not go, oh, anger's bad. Push that away. Don't look at it. When you find yourself in these lower states of being, when you find yourself in, I'm not good enough, when you find yourself in grief, I've lost something and I feel so sad about it. When you find yourself in these states of being, that is a huge gold mine. If you actually go towards those emotions, go towards those things, this is how you spiral up the map of consciousness. And I'll say this is why it's incredibly important to have strong groups of men around you because this work that we're talking about here of spiraling higher and higher, it's so much easier to do when we have support and we have community to talk about it with. We have community to say, yeah, oh man, I just found this, man, I'm so angry. Can you support me in going into some of this anger? Man, I feel so much shame. I feel so sad. Can you guide me through some of this? This is the potency of doing men's work in men's communities. And there's so many men out there that have been programmed to think, oh, if I just work harder, I will gain more power. Now, in this 3D world, if I have more houses, if I can buy more things, yes, I have a certain sense of power, but it's not an internal power. It's not a state of, sorry, it's not a state of being. It's not an emotional power that is so much deeper than monetary power. Let's talk about this in the comments. This is a deep subject. This is something I've been reading about. I can't even remember how many years, probably a decade ago, I read Power versus Force and first learned about this. And the depth of understanding just continues to evolve. Look at the type of thinking over here in the different states. I love courage. I'm willing. I will. Pride. I can. I'm better than. I never. Anger. I despise. I dislike. I need, want. I don't want. I wish. Like we can, if you read those types of thinking and thoughts, you can see that there's not a whole lot of energy there. So let's talk about this in the comments. I'm telling you, if you want to really nerd out, put it on your phone like me. Have this continual reminder that when I find myself in those lower states of being, those lower thoughts, those lower emotions, it's not bad. It's perfect. And if I work with them, That's what leads to me living in higher states of being. I used to wake up every morning afraid. I used to wake up every morning angry. And now I wake up in the morning and I go straight to gratitude. I go straight to prayer. Thank you for the health, the vitality, the family, the money that I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May you bless me more in this day today. May I be blessed with more health. And it's just such a gift. And this map of consciousness has changed my life and it can change yours as well. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to talk about, let's do it in the comments. Subscribe, share, all those things. I want to be a part as much as I can of this movement of men living in higher states of being, claiming more of their power.